Okay, readers, we left off by thinking about this last interaction between Marta and the principal. So you might have been thinking that the principal showed his power and privilege by asking about Marta's grandfather having the money to pay for the jacket, as if it's that simple for everyone to just pay the $15. But you may have also considered how Marta reacted so strongly and stoically, maybe because of her relationship with her grandfather. He's a strong source of power, or how she found a source of power in herself when she said Joanne's name out loud. She was trying to take back some power by mentioning the principal's unfair plan. And all of this speaks to the power dynamics inside relationships. That is what we are uncovering right now. So, we've named some really important insights so far, and we have one more section to read, the end of the story. So, keep thinking, what is most fascinating here in terms of power? What critical reading lenses might I apply? It might be the reading work that's on the chart, or you might develop some of your own reading work. Martha, wait. I turned and looked at him, waiting. What did he want now? I could feel my heart pounding loudly in my chest and see my blouse fluttering where my breast should have been. Something bitter and vile tasting was coming up in my mouth. I was afraid I was going to be sick. I didn't need any sympathy speeches. He sighed loudly and went back to his big desk. He watched me, biting his lip. Okay, we'll make an exception in your case. I'll tell the board you'll get your jacket. I could hardly believe my ears. I spoke in a trembling rush. Oh, thank you, sir. Suddenly, I felt great. I didn't know about adrenaline in those days, but I knew something was pumping through me, making me feel as tall as the sky. I wanted to yell, jump, run the mile, do something. I ran out so I could cry in the hall where there was no one to see me. At the end of the day, Mr. Schmidt winked at me and said, I hear you're getting the scholarship jacket this year. His face looked as happy and innocent as a baby's, but I knew better. Without answering, I gave him a quick hug and ran to the bus. I cried on the walk home again, but this time because I was so happy. I couldn't wait to tell Grandpa and ran straight to the field. I joined him in the row where he was working, and without saying anything, I crouched down and started pulling up the weeds with my hands. Grandpa worked alongside me for a few minutes, and he didn't ask what had happened. After I had a pile of weeds between the rows, I stood up and faced him. The principal said he's making an exception for me, Grandpa, and I'm getting the jacket after all. That's after I told him what you said. Grandpa didn't say anything. He just gave me a pat on the shoulder and a smile. He pulled out the crumpled red handkerchief that he always carried in his back pocket and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Better go see if your grandmother needs any help with supper. I gave him a big grin. He didn't fool me. I skipped and ran back to the house whistling some silly tune. All right, readers, I want you to think about the ending. What does this story say about the access or denial of power? Go ahead and pause the video and take a few minutes to jot your thinking in your reading notebook. So let's name some of the things that you might have jotted or were thinking about. Marta realized that some adults try and take advantage of you. Some adults think you and your origins, your ethnicity, your status is not enough, and some don't. You might have noticed the teacher again, Mr. Schmidt, and how he stood up for Marta. You might have also jotted about the scholarship jacket and what it could mean. We know that objects or titles can be suggestive or symbolic in a story. We know that tracing symbolism or motifs and themes can help us see how power is sought or exerted in the story. Does this concept sound like something worth talking about? The scholarship jacket. Readers, this work will make you more insightful in the books that you read and reading the world around you. Right now, I want you to take a few minutes to plan how you might do this work in your books. Then, go ahead and get started. Off you go.